Oh, welcome back, everybody, to my Bruder build, and I think this is, maybe 5 now, I think. Yeah, so I have this RAM. This is the new one. This is the one I have in here now, and learning things as I go. I just ordered this one, and I didn't really check the amount of poundage, or I believe they categorize them in N. So you get, like, this is a 20 N, which I believe is Newton meters. And that converts to about 4.5 pounds, which doesn't have a whole lot of lift, but has a whole lot of speed. Let me see if I can bring this baby back down. But that doesn't do us very good as a dump truck. So I found this one. Amazon, I'll leave a link to this one. This one I believe is going to do the job. This is a 120 Newton meter. So I believe that gives us 28 pounds. And it actuates much slower, but it also is going to lift a lot more weight. So you can see she's going. It's going to take a little bit longer to dump this dump box, but the dump box is 100% going to be able to lift some good poundage now. What I'm going to end up doing is pulling this whole thing apart, because the first part of this was just getting everything working, which we're there now. Once I put this in, I think this is really going to solve my lifting issues. I should be able to lift anything this dump box should be able to hold. In the meantime, I need to get this dump box and cab pulled back off of here. Start prepping them and getting them ready for paint. There we go. The other nice thing about these is they also have built-in limit switches, so you don't have to worry about them going out too far or going in too far. They've got the limit switches built into them, so kind of hard to beat on that. I'm also going to try to move it back a little bit further, give me a little bit more further back on this dump box to get a better lift. Then I've got to prep all this for paint, get it all pulled apart. If I have time, I'm going to put some aluminum railing down through here to fill that gap. Let's just hop into it. And that was not fun, and there was profanity involved. I don't know why I thought this would come apart any easier than it was to get it off the Bruder chassis, but man, they are really good at putting this stuff together, and there's not a single screw involved. There's so many little ears and tabs you have to peel back and separate, and in my case, cut off, and they'll be glued back together when I reassemble it. But nice looking little interior there. Yeah, the detail on this stuff's really good, but it's time to start spraying. I think I might go with something very similar to my farm truck, like a two-tone, maybe white and like baby powder blue, robin egg blue, something like that, with a like a black dump bed, all kind of weathered. I got most of my trucks are weathered, so I'm just kind of going to stick with that theme. And yep, let's hop into it. A little bit of a venue change, but here's how the paint's going. I think that's all turning out really nice. I'm gonna like the way that all goes together. Our dump bed. Nice day, so I figured I'd come out here. Now I painted this interior white, but I'm gonna go through here and go through and start painting the gauges and stuff, just to get, you know, a little bit more detail in there. And I picked up this piece, well, I cut this piece of stainless I had, and it will fit in here really nicely. What I have to do, though, is trim these corners just the tiniest bit, because those corners there are cut off, so I need to make sure that matches up and put a little bit of a bend in it. And this guy will be our new driver for our dump truck. I'm going to start getting this interior back together and start putting all these panel pieces back together, and should start shaping up. Oh, and in the meantime, I'm going to start throwing all these little chrome bits in this purple super clean. I'm going to let those soak in there for an hour or two, get them swished around a bit, and that should start removing some of the chrome and making it a little bit duller, because man, that is just way too shiny of stuff to be going with a weathered paint job. Getting a little color into the interior, so just doing a quick job Oh, just haphazardly getting some stuff thrown on there, so we got some color differences in the interior. And I started getting the cab back together, got the windshield wipers painted, and it's all coming along pretty good. I have retrieved our parts from the Super Clean, and you know, when you're messing with chemical reactions, you take some chances. I think the grill turned out amazing. I really like it. That's about the perfect amount of chrome gone, and the stacks didn't turn out bad. This mirror turned out nice. Now, this one, it pretty much stripped everything off of, and our little air horns up top, it stripped everything off of those for the most part too, so I might have to do a little bit of reshading. But everything else, you know, I think it didn't do too bad. So everything's coming together pretty good. Oh my, that is just a good looking truck. I'm really pleased with how this is coming out. So cool. I'm ready to get this thing mounted back up on the chassis. Little update, my normal whirlwind of parts and a mess going on, but got the cab mounted back up. Got our driver going on in there. Hey, looking pretty cool. I like the way that cab looks. And our bed. So our dump box. I've put this piece of stainless steel in there to help it slide out better and to make a cool noise when rocks and stuff hit it. And I expect this to be scratching through yellow in places. That's why I picked these colors. I thought yellow would look alright shining through. I drilled that through all the way and put this rail. And I drilled all these holes, so I have multiple mounting points. And I think I'm going to take, of course I got stuff laying everywhere, this piece of brass tubing and this piece of M3 all thread. And I think I'm going to drill through here and put the brass tube in the inside as like a crush sleeve, and it also is the right diameter to meet this hole properly, and try to get this back right in here somewhere if I can. And then I should be able to mount the dump box back up and see how this new actuator works. This is definitely a lot more powerful than our previous lead screw. I broke the end off of this one, retracting it too far with it hooked up, and had to steal the one off of this one for now. And check this out. 2.5 pound, 2.5 pound. Put it all the way up at the front of the bed. Oh, you can see that weight rock down on there. And away we go. It doesn't even hesitate. I can't imagine I'll have anything more than 5 pounds in here. Now I'm going to pick this up because I don't want to dump those out the back. Show you our full lift height. That was full retraction where we were sitting, where we began. I just love watching machinery run. And there we are. We hit the limit switch. Pretty awesome. We've made a lot of progress. I just have to get the electronics in it and get everything working off the radio. And there's going to be a bunch of buttoning up stuff to do. And just about ready for the show. Well, we'll hop on the rest of this stuff and just kind of cut to the end here, I'm thinking. Well, I said we're just going to cut to the end. That was a lie. I wanted to show you how I had this set up. So I have my main ESC, which is a Hobbywing 1080. And that's being run by the receiver. And that goes out to the servo and the motor. And then in channel 5, which is this switch right here, I have a Hobbywing 1060 hooked up in channel 5, and the wires for that soldered into the motor here, and it's got its own independent 3-cell. And with that way, you can see I now have this on a radio. And what's cool about it is you have to return to neutral. See if I can just throw it into forward, and then when I go into back and then go back again, it stays still. So I have to throw it back into neutral and then into back. And that way it keeps you from accidentally going from one to the other a little too quick. which is pretty cool. Oh, there we go. I wanted to share that. I'm kind of strapped for places to put electronics on this thing. So I did add a stainless steel grid inside here, some expanded metal. And I'm going to mount the 1060 right back here and find a small of a 3-cell. It may even be this one, skinny enough to sit down in here. Because the RAM should stop, I think, right around this area. So as long as something to fit in there. And I'm going to keep all of that to its own unit up there. And then I'm going to run the other electronics under the hood if I can. It's real tight, so it's going to be kind of a cramped space. Well, look what we have here. Not only do we have a dump truck, it's going through high grass, carrying a load of rocks. This will be our first test and run. Then we'll get it back on the bench and talk about it a little bit. So I have the reverse set super low here. All right, going up. All right. Go back down. Now my plans in the future are to also take and put a servo on the back of this gate so I can have a latch that opens and closes, and I'll make it even more free flowing, maybe put a little weight into it. And off we go. All right, I will meet you back on the bench so we can discuss what I've done here. All right, let's raise this bed up a little bit. You can get a good look at things. This is probably the most challenging thing I've ever built. Just to get everything to work right and set right it's been very rewarding, but definitely a challenge. Well, here's our second ESC. Let me get that turned off. And I'm going to put a little Velcro down here, maybe a little cover flap, but just using a 450 milliamp 3S back here to run the RAM for the dump bed. I use this little aluminum toolbox because I thought I really had a struggle finding where to put my electronics. That has my battery in it. I was able to take the old boxes and I glued them down to a piece of black like really thick plastic stuff. Let me see, here it is. This stuff here. I mean, it's pretty stout stuff. And then I mounted this to the bottom of the cab. And these guys mount through here and here. And now this is I've got my rear cab mount, and then I've got my side to front cab mounts here. Pop this guy off. Let me get the other side. Now in the front here is where I had my real challenge trying to get everything to fit into place. Turn that off. All right, we're at zero state. So in the front here, I was able to mount all of my running electronics. So I've got my Hobbywing 1080, my radio link, and my power button here. Whoa, fly flew right in on us. But I was rubbing just a little bit here, so I had to do a little bit of sanding. I took some expanded aluminum and made these side pieces, and took a flat piece and made the top deck. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. You don't have gapping showing when things are closed. It all is buttoned up, and I'm pretty proud of it. This is probably one of the most challenging but rewarding things I've ever built. I'm just really happy with how this turned out. What a cool looking truck. This is exactly what I wanted. I've been buying dump trucks and messing with dump trucks, and none of them have really made me happy. But this one, I think we're all right. It has the power. It can go places. It will dump anything this dump bed will hold. And I do have some plans for the future. I'd like to put that servo in the back so I can actually actuate the tailgate latch. I was just kind of leaving it unlatched and letting it open itself. And I've got to mount a couple of the electronics down here and there and do a little bit of accessorizing. I'm also going to add a couple of little stand feet coming up and out here for the dump box to sit on to keep it nice and level while we're driving so it doesn't rattle around, and it gives a little bit more support so it's not just being supported by the ram only. But that's going to wrap it up. So I know this is probably getting a pretty long video, but hopefully it's a worth it video because I'm really, really proud and happy how this one turned out. I'd like to thank you all for watching. I appreciate every one of you. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have anything to do here. Well, thanks a lot. I hope you have an awesome day. I will leave a link for this guy because pretty handy little piece of equipment. And I will hopefully catch you on the next video. Later.